Zach Morris opens the show, declaring Screech and Violet the hottest couple at Bayside, even though this is only the second time we have seen Violet.
Emil, you're such a funny hunk.
I'm not that funny.
Screech must be saving her for later from everyone as his own personal love toy.
I haven't seen him this happy since Mr. Ed was colorized.
Either that, or the writers have no idea what to do with the daughter of a spoiled brat of TV's most successful producer, her father, Tori Spelling, especially when she isn't even the focus of the main theme of this episode, namely, for singing. Violet convinces the group to allow her to join the Glee Club, but Screech detests singing even though the girls were once part of a rock and grow group that would have graced the cover of post-alphabet cereal with a track cassette tape no one would remember and discard.
Besides, the Glee Club's for geeks.
Screech only wants to join for the same reason Zach and Slater have been zooming the girls at Bayside for poon.
I'd love to join the Glee Club and hide with you, Violet.
The gang changed their minds about singing when Violet mentions that the winner would win a trip to Hawaii for the finals in the all-city competition. Huh? Doesn't all-city only pertain to Hawaii? Are the writers assuming Hawaii is a city in California? It's just not remotely possible, and also consider highly illegal that a group of 6 people could join a club that late in the semester and obtained polished singing voices in time for competition. The group enroll, but the nerds protest by eliminating the minority, namely them, now the minority.
I believe you talked me into this, Preppy. I've missed 2 days of wrestling to sing 4-part harmony with 3 geeks.
Hey, you're off our Christmas list, jock boy.
No longer has a place to sulk, build themselves up to feel they are making a difference when in reality they are overloading the PA speakers with their high-pitched Jerry Lewis voices.
Johnny comes marching home again, hurrah, hurrah.
When Johnny comes marching home again, hurrah.
To them, that's the life of a nerd, embracing mediocrity in their badge of honor.
We've come a long way.
Glee Club is led by one of the best and incompetent Bayside faculty members of all time, Mr. Tuttle.
Now, let's be bouncy with our beat.
How many degrees can one have anyway? He teaches everything.
What are you doing on my turf?
Mr. Belding comes in to check on the group and...
I'm giving you 48 hours to shape up, or I'll be forced to withdraw this team from this year's competition.
They suck rocks! Since it's being held not at Hawaii, but surprise, surprise, Bayside. Also, Lisa has a cold, and therefore social distancing was put into order. Back at Zach's house, Zach and Screech try to devise a way to whip the group into winning form.
Well, why don't we cut out the singing part?
Violet phones Screech because she thinks that if he's not home or at school, he can always be found under the fur rug at Zach's house, taking up prime real estate.
Screech, please, we've got to think tonight.
Violet invites them to a concert performance being held at Cal U. Zach is not interested at first, but is interested upon hearing that the Cal U Glee Club will be performing.
Something with us. We're bringing your underwear with us?
Hey, I'm impressed. The writers are connecting the dots to an actual future location that will soon be used as the premise for Saved by the Bell, the college years. I'm still confused as to why they chose to invent a place that doesn't exist and just use a real university in the episode. Come on, this is NBC. You can afford to pay royalties to the big schools out there. Mr. Belding returns on the next day to check on the progress of the club rehearsal.
Now, the progress we've made might not be clear to the amateur ear.
Zach rigs equipment straight out of Millie Villani's manipulation department, featuring a clear studio-enhanced version of the Cal U Glee Club to make it appear as if the group is actually singing it live in real time. Mr. Belding is so fooled and perplexed at the overnight turnaround, along with Mr. Tuttle, because now it has brought Zach some time to come up with a solution to sway the judges, for they will be playing with a full deck, unlike some idiots we know.
My goodness, you sound like a completely different Glee Club.
Yes, I'd say you made a total fool of yourself.
After commercial break, Zach informs Mr. Tuttle that they have a newfound way, since these adults can't figure anything out on their own in the SBTB universe, despite putting our faith in them as educators.
It's despicable, deceitful, and I'm delighted you did it.
Zach, that defeats the purpose of any group.
You're not. Now that you bought me some time, I'll have you singing like you've never sung before.
It's called teamwork.
Well, that's good, Mr. Tuttle. Because we've never sung before.
That's why it's called a team building and team growing experience. Kelly is up first to sing, and it's no different than the tone-deaf Kelly from the Hot Sunday episode, but here she fits right in like a bad news bear.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Jessie is wearing a mask, not because she fears singing in public, but fears COVID-19, despite being 6 feet socially distanced apart from Lisa.
Lisa's got a cold, and I am not going to allow her germs to invade my body.
Come on, Jesse, you've got a great voice. Don't you want to go to Hawaii?
Nice way to flatten the curve, though.
What good will it do me if I've got pneumonia?
But this fits into the plot how? I think you are in the wrong movie, Jessie. Consult the film Outbreak, starring Dustin Hoffman and Rene Russo. Believe me, the only thing that is a disease and is susceptible to infecting us more than is this iricide in this group.
Look, all we need is one good singer.
Yeah, and the rest of us can hum.
Violet is next, and she sure can demonstrate just how deep her father Tori Spelling's pockets are to buy you such great singing lessons.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol.
After that, a star is born, but she doesn't want to be.
No, please get someone else.
But Screech assures her he'll be right there behind her, groping her, saying sweet songs of sexual harassment if she gets nervous.
Kind of like your nerd in shining armor.
Even though they are Bayside's hottest couple, but Violet's family is unaware that they have been even dating, so they invite him over to dinner on Saturday night. Screech gets nervous, and meeting Violet's parents, considering the fact that they are upper class, rich and wealthy, and totally different than the upper middle class people you already come in contact with in the swanky suburbs of Reseda, California.
Don't worry about it, Screech. We'll help you.
Yeah, we'll teach you everything you need to know to fit right in.
So he therefore obtains advice from 5 of the world's worst numbnuts on the planet, when one of them suggests she tell Violet's mother she looks like a celebrity.
Excuse me, has anyone ever told you you look very much like, and then name some big movie star? Moms always fall for that one.
Basically setting him up for survival, the Screech way, that if you are knee-deep in trying to make a good impression, out of fear of having your cover blown, just say nothing, or in your case, speak your unintelligent guts out and try to look like you know what you are doing.
This is Bickerstaff. Has anyone ever told you that you look like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
This ought to crash and burn like the time Maverick tried to get in on with Penny Benjamin in Top Gun. So we cut to what we think is a fantasy sequence, but in actuality could have been a recount of last night's dinner all rolled up into a short sequence. Well, let's examine Screech's dinner date at Hell's Kitchen. First and foremost, he appears in a very uncolored coordinated wardrobe, sporting WWE's Doing the Clown's tie. He goes off saying his mom now looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger and tells her father Seventh Heaven was the worst piece of shit he casted his name to. That's right, prepare yourself for a cold-hearted, backhanded compliment fully designed to make you feel inferior to me.
Call these finger bowls. Lemon soup is delicious. Can I have seconds?
You're welcome, says Screech. Oh, the non-existent hilarity ensues. The next day, Violet comes in to inform Mr. Tuttle that she is quitting Glee Club. Well, I mean, if Violet's family consists of people who feel compelled to demand consideration are some of the most inconsiderate jerks you'll ever meet, and like vermin, should be avoided at all times.
Hates me and doesn't want to be around me anymore.
Correction, Screech, everyone hates you. Violet clicked you out. Without their star singer, Zach asked Jessie to fill in for she's the only one with decent vocals, but no, she tested positive for the coronavirus and lost her voice, so she has to bunker down.
I caught Lisa's cold.
Sorry.
I'm glad that small minute detail turned out to be the difference maker here. Even though you would think you have one last shining grace in Lisa, 1/3 of Hot Sunday, but she can't sing worth crap because she is under a promotional contract to Chiquita Bananas.
Sorry.
And this is your fashion expert. The Bayside gals find Violet in the restroom crying for the real reason she broke up with Screech is that Tori Spelling doesn't want a future porn star dating his under 18 daughter.
It'd just be too painful.
Attempts to console Screech over the loss of Violet. Don't worry, you will always remember the cock tease and endless promises that went with dating a cock tease.
Thanks. Me too.
Violet returns to tell Screech the truth about her parents. Screech agrees to take a backstage position so Violet can sing because being in the Glee Club means they're dating? It's a stupid, contrived thought despite what happened previously, but whatever, let's carry on. Violet's parents arrive featuring not Aaron Spelling, whom come backstage and decide that Screech being in the same vicinity means they came just in time to stop this fuck session from continuing any longer.
Young man, please, excuse us.
Well, sure. I didn't even hear you burp.
This not Aaron Spelling individual seems to suffer from the same misogynistic problems many of the male characters on this program suffer from when he tries to be the voice of reason by never consulting with his wife and tells it like it is in authoritarian matter.
Violet, we're very disappointed that you chose to disobey us.
But Dad, he was just...
What is it with this we the jury, holier than thou, trampling over youth for the greater good here?
We'll continue this conversation at home.
For once, let's learn to use I and we statements that are more heartfelt, genuine, and less fire and brimstone. Zach Morris calls a timeout for the Cal U bootleg background track to kick in while Scott Wolf looks confused the entire time of this episode.
Hook up this tape to the sound system.
Okay, Zach, but I'm not sure how it works.
How does this time warping of time and space work since Screech is nowhere to be seen, and how is he exempt from carrying out Zach's master plan where he is frozen? Time mattered anyway. Screech is so incompetent, he doesn't know how to properly insert up and play a cassette tape correctly. He inserts it and then puts in fast forward where the cassette ribbon spews out at him from part of the tape machine that looks more like a reel-to-reel player and has no association at all to the tape deck. Screech does make the machine throw up in his face, though.
Let me explain.
Luckily, boy band manipulation is not required for the heroine of the hour. Comes up, but comes down with the chills.
Violet, it's your cue.
Bum, bum. Beautiful.
Are waiting for thee.
Screech somehow reinserts himself back in the Glee Club as the two perform a duet.
Sounds of the rude world.
Heard in the day.
Aw, talent competitions and sitcoms. You spend the first half of the program singing a song you don't really know. But boy, when it comes down to that 15-second part, you know your big moment is coming, and that's when you're gonna own that shit.
Awaken to me.
Performance night is a rousing success as they find themselves back at To the Max to celebrate where the whole gang is impressed. After all coming out of the backstage area unannounced, performing a duet is considered praiseworthy nowadays.
Screech, what you did for Violet was very romantic.
Yeah, Screech. We would have been lost if it wasn't for you. I'm just sorry things aren't gonna work out between you and...
Even Violet and her parents come in and were so touched by the Screech's soft melody that it melted their stone-cold, icy, hot hearts and therefore earned their blessing to date Violet.
You rescue our daughter tonight, and we no longer object to you and Violet seeing each other.
Hey, all right.
Lesson for today, miracles happen every day, and it's a surprise Zach didn't have to choke the stupid out of someone we know today.
All right,
Samuel, you're welcome at our house anytime.
Screech. Except for dinner time.
See? Then again, they needed a happy ending to keep in good standing with Aaron Spelling. Because after all, they needed her one more time before she moves on to 90210.